Every year, thousands of proposed laws flood into the United States Congress. Each piece represents complex demands, competing interests, and a wide-ranging fiscal impact. To process this constant stream of information, the system relies on a very specific constraint: 435 highly partisan, independent representatives. Rather than an open forum for debate, the House functions as a heavily gated processing engine, engineered specifically for speed. Because of this design, legislation moves rapidly. While the Senate might deliberate over a topic for weeks, a debate on the floor of the House rarely lasts more than a single day. This velocity is achieved by centralizing power. House leaders possess the authority to dictate workflow and make key decisions about legislative traffic without consulting the rest of the members. To prevent total legislative gridlock, leaders enforce a strict framework of rules. This system dates back to Thomas Jefferson. During his vice presidency, he wrote the first manual to enforce basic etiquette, ensuring members spoke to the presiding officer rather than arguing directly. Over time, those early behavioral guidelines evolved into strict modern time constraints. Today, an individual representative is limited to speaking for 5 minutes or less during floor debate. In a democracy, deep political divisions are inevitable. These procedural rules are necessary to protect minority voices from being completely silenced, while maintaining the forward momentum of the majority. Without structural constraints on individual participation, 435 independent agents would lack the coordination required to produce any legislative output. The legislative algorithm begins its sorting process at a physical input box known as the hopper. Located near the front of the chamber, it is an easily accessible wooden box where any representative can drop a proposed bill. Once a bill enters the hopper, the Speaker of the House acts as the primary router, sending the proposed law to the appropriate committee. Because it is physically impossible for all 435 members to study every single bill simultaneously, the House distributes the workload into specialized subnetworks called committees. Members are assigned to these specific processing nodes based on the direct needs of their local constituents. For example, Congressmember Janice Hahn serves a district near Los Angeles and Long Beach, and Belia dominated by major airports, massive commercial seaports, and high-volume auto traffic. Therefore, she operates within the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Operating inside a committee gives members the focused time required to study, alter, and improve the specific bills placed in front of them. But these committees also act as a stringent filter for incoming data. The vast majority of proposed laws are killed right here. Of the thousands of bills introduced during each term, only 10 to 20% ever survive the committee stage to reach the official House calendars. This filtering process shifts power away from the individual representative on the floor. It delegates that power to specialized subgroups, ensuring that only pre-vetted legislation advances to the next stage. Surviving bills are placed on House calendars, forming an overloaded queue. Handling them in strict chronological order would cause time to run out. To solve this, the Rules Committee acts as a powerful gatekeeper, intercepting the flow of major legislation to the floor. The Rules Committee exercises the power to issue special orders, pulling a bill entirely out of sequence. They dictate exactly how long a bill can be debated, and they resolve disputes of concurrent jurisdiction, which happens when multiple committees claim overlapping parts of a single bill. They can also intentionally stop a bill from moving forward at all. Holding back legislation allows leaders to protect their party members from having to take highly unpopular votes on the floor. Control over this priority logic gate rests with the majority party. The majority caucus elects the Speaker of the House, who commands the majority leader. The majority leader is then supported by majority whips, whose exact job is to track every vote and ensure party members comply. Control over this choke point is volatile. In 1910, the House revolted against Speaker Joseph G. Cannon, forcibly removing him from the Rules Committee. But power shifted back toward centralization in 1995. Speaker Newt Gingrich reduced the number of committees and consolidated power to force through his legislative program. In 2006, Speaker Nancy Pelosi maintained this consolidated power structure, using the precedent to strictly manage her party and push her agenda forward. Whoever holds the Speaker's gavel and directs the Rules Committee governs the legislative algorithm. They dictate what becomes law before a floor vote ever occurs. The final stage of this process takes place on the floor of the House of Representatives. While the output stage carries high stakes, the physical reality of the chamber on an average day looks disorganized. Most representatives are not even on the floor. They are scattered across committee rooms, meeting with voters, or working in their offices. When the system reaches a point requiring debate or a vote on proposed bills, it physically summons all of its processors using a network of loud buzzers ringing across the Capitol and House office buildings. To conduct legislative action, the House requires a quorum of exactly 218 members. However, requiring this majority for the lengthy process of debating creates friction, dragging down speed. To override this, the House dissolves into a temporary state known as the Committee of the Whole. This state drops the required quorum from 218 down to just 100 members. It physically removes the friction of gathering a full majority, allowing the chamber to debate and revise important bills rapidly. But there is a strict limitation. The Committee of the Whole can make changes, but cannot officially pass a bill. Once revisions are complete, the standard quorum of the full House resumes for a final vote. Overseeing this final output is the Speaker of the House, the presiding officer with authority over which members to call on and in what order. The Speaker actively uses this floor time to interact with dozens of members, listening to requests for localized favors. By granting these small requests, the Speaker secures the essential votes needed to pass major legislation. The House of Representatives functions as a precision machine, extracting order from 435 competing factors.